Hi everyone, in today's video we will explore WAN 2.2, but we will focus only on image to video generation. And the reason I wait so long to release this video is because I was waiting for the new LoRa from Lightning-to-Video for them to release the image to video LoRa that we could test in this video. For this one I wanted to do it a bit differently. So instead of looking at all the features from 2.2, we are going to take a different approach, more practical and performance-driven angle. How close can we get to the quality and speed of a premium paid model using WAN 2.2 locally? That would be the question of this video, and we'll see how we can achieve that. The premium pay model we will pick will be MiniMax version 2, one of the most capable paid image to video models available. Using a fixed prompt, I will generate a 720p video on the cloud and measure the time it takes to generate. Then we will shift to WAN 2.2, running most available version locally on the system, run with a 4090 GPU. We will test the 14B model from WAN 2.2 in multiple configuration, FP16, FP8, the Quantized version Q5 and Q8, with or without a LoRa. And finally, we will also have a look at a smaller model, 5B model in FP8 to see how it compares in terms of speed and quality. The goal is to have a look at which model could get as close as possible to MiniMax in terms of generation time, resolution, and visual fidelity, but also if WAN 2.2 is actually better than MiniMax. And at the end of this video, I will share simple optimization to actually help speed up the process with your WAN 2.2 locally. I will walk through what to do for your setup, and also I will show you the full workflow of my favorite models in ComfyUI. Let's get into it. So here we're looking at generation from LuO Gen 2, 720p, and it took about 2 minutes to generate on the cloud. So this is sort of the standard we're gonna base our study on. So let's look at how WAN 2.2 is comparing. So this is the second iteration. So one of the iteration I did with WAN 2.2 at 720 native as well, with the 14B and FP16. One of the challenge is it took 1 hour and 25 minutes to generate locally on the graphic card, which is take ages, but the quality overall is really impressive. Now we're moving on to the FP8. So this is now the default in ComfyUI when you download the workflow, and it took only 34 minutes to generate. So which is a huge improvement. However, it's still quite long compared to the cloud version, and the quality is actually quite good. I think it's getting very close to the cloud in terms of quality. Now this one is the 5B FP16 that you can also find in the templates that I was showing you. Now this one, what I found is it just got a bit of hallucination. I've done 2 iterations and both of them came up with this morphing, and it's not really what I'm looking for. So they are very fast, 3 minutes 30, so almost as fast as the cloud, but the hallucination part is just annoying. Those are some of my personal touch that were completely fail, where I tried to add a LoRa to the 14B FP8 that was already in ComfyUI, and I'm like, why not adding a LoRa and see how it looks like? It generates quite fast, but it generates something that is completely impossible to use. This one now, we're moving on the Quantized version. So this is WAN 2.2, and it's a 720p, and it took 40 minutes to generate. The quality is really good. But again, 40 minutes is a bit long. I found almost better than LuO Gen 2, but in terms of texture, in terms of contrast of the concrete, and even the mountain in the back. Now this one is the Q4, but I add a LoRa. So it's a bit tricky because on those iterations, I'm moving a bit faster. So there's a bit of a noise appearing on the image. But I found the Q4 and 720 with a LoRa quite convincing. And it only took 7 minutes 30 seconds to generate locally on the 4090, which is getting really close to what a paid cloud version could do. So then I tried the Q8, which is supposed to be slightly better. And it took roughly the same time, 7 minutes 30, with the LoRa and only 6 steps. Now I play a bit with the steps. I didn't see massive changes moving to 10 steps, but it might be worth keep exploring. In terms of time, I'm pretty happy with that, 7 minutes 30 seconds, and the quality is pretty convincing. Now, one of the challenge is on all those tests, I'm actually trying a WAN 2.1 LoRa for all the LoRa simulation and a WAN 2.2 text to video LoRa. So both are not really optimized for WAN 2.2. So that's why we have the opportunity to test a LoRa that has been optimized for 2.2. Let's see what the result is with it. So here we can see with the 720p FP8, and we just have that new LoRa that just came up 2 days ago with only 4 steps, and it took 5 minutes to generate on the 4090, which is pretty fast. Now compared to MiniMax, it's actually really close, and I really don't mind 2.2. I found it very elegant and nice, and 5 minutes against 2 minutes on the cloud, which is quite stunning. Those are like some of the other examples. That's a zoom in. I found overall prompt adherence works much better with the new LoRa than it did with the previous one. So that's also an advantage. It's not only faster, it's also more... It's also better with the prompt. And here is another example where it's sort of the building sort of lift off. So that was a bit of a mistake from my prompt, I guess. And it didn't quite work as well. Now, having said that, the next one I wanted to share with you is a comparison with WAN 2.1 VACE and see how this one first compares to MiniMax Gen 2 here in this video. So remember when we used the VACE, it was about 9 minutes to generate. And now we have WAN 2.2 in 720, 5 minutes to generate with a new LoRa, and it looks much better. So we can see it here on the left hand side. Pretty amazing sort of results and comparison. So overall, I think it's just quite stunning. So if you click on the link below, you will have access to this page here, which is basically the doc for ComfyUI. That helps you. There's a lot of information about the model. So this is WAN 2.2, and then it's has been released just on day 0. So as soon as one was out, it was already on ComfyUI, which is quite amazing. Amazing work from the team. And then here you get some information about what really changed and how the model improved. So have a look at the different video, different example, and here are the link of the different the main models. We'll talk a bit about it a bit later, but what we're going to focus on, there are also some amazing live here. I highly recommend to check it out if you want to go a bit deeper into the settings. They are really good good lives to understand how you could use WAN 2.2. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to go to ComfyUI, and then we've got those 3 workflow here. And then what we can do here, there are a couple of examples. Some of the models here needs to be downloaded. So the one we're going to focus on is not the text to video or not the 5B. I'll show you a bit how they look like. But the one we're really going to focus in this video is the image to video, workflow. So here's an example with an image. So you can actually download that workflow and have that image as well, and create this workflow. What you need to do here is you just need to download those models. So now those ones here are quite old, so we're going to focus on new ones. because they haven't been optimized yet for our workflow. So to give you a bit of an idea, when I run with those models, it took an hour and a half. So it's the one I showed at the start. So let's have a look in ComfyUI and see what we need to do. So if you go to workflow, open browser, you can go to video, and then here that's the 1.2.2, text to video 1.2.2, image to video, and then the 5B generation 1.2.2. So the 5B had a bit of hallucination, so I wasn't a big fan of it, but the image to video one is very, very strong and very, very nice. So I'm just gonna click on this one and import the workflow. Now here you're gonna have a list of models that you can download, and this is really the one we want to download. So when you click on it, make sure you get your ComfyUI updated. But if it's updated, you're gonna see that window popping up, and then you can just download those models. They will download on your computer, and then make sure you save them in the right location. So here is a bit of indication. So those model will go into your folder, and the ComfyUI folder, and the models and the diffusion models, and you're gonna put those models in. I like to put them into a folder as well and say 1.2.2, so I know I can organize my folders a bit. The text encoder is the same as 1.2.1, so if you already have it, you don't need to download it. And the VAE is also the same as 1.2.1. So if I open this one here, it doesn't recognize because I have them in different folders, but I basically download them all. If not, you just download. And that's how the workflow look like. So if you don't have that window popping up, you can also download them here again. But those ones are also the old ones. So you can see here, image to video, high noise, 14B, FP16. So those ones are very heavy if you don't have a really good graphic card, and even me with my 4090, it still take a while. So highly recommend to pass this one and go straight with this one. So those ones should have been integrated now in the new workflow, and it's the FP8 version scale that has been optimized for ComfyUI and for customer GPUs. Now in terms of settings, all I need to do here is I need to pick up, see I got a couple of models, I just need to pick up the right one to run the workflow. And all what we have to do here is we're just gonna add another couple of things. So I'll show you my workflow. That's my workflow. So it's basically the same as here. So we've got exactly the same models as the one that you get by default. The same VAE, the same clip encoder, and what we just add here is sage attention. So I'm going to talk a bit about it at the end of this video on how to get sage attention to work on your computer. It's quite amazing. I found amazing tutorial, and I'll share the link below. And you can add those two nodes to make it work. So the main difference with 1.2.1 and most of the model on ComfyUI, Flux or other models, the difference is we have two diffusion model that we need to load. One is high noise and the other one is low noise. The high noise is for basically the big moves, so how does that the geometry will come together, and then the low noise is to refine the model, from what I understand. And so the only things we're going to add to that workflow, so you can see in the basic workflow, or the one you just get here, you go from the load model all the way to the model sampling. And what we do here is we just add 3 nodes in between, which are the patch sage attention from KG. So if you go to the KG nodes, you can download those ones, and those are to trigger sage attention. It actually divide by 2 the time to generate the video, so pretty amazing. And then the LoRa we are downloading is actually the Lightning image to video. So this was actually released only 4 days ago at the time I'm recording this video. And I was waiting for these models to come out to be able to test them, because those ones have been trained on the 2.2. So I've done a lot of tests with LoRAs coming trained on 2.1, and I really wanted to see what was the difference with 2.2, and it didn't disappoint. It was quite amazing. So I highly recommend to download these ones, and they're also going to work better with a prompt. Now, about the strength, I tried a couple of things. I would say that, you know, it's sort of, for me, my understanding from my exploration was you can go up to 3 here and sort of 1.5 here. After that, it started to become a bit tricky. I just found sometimes when I had those ones to those maximum, the prompt wasn't working as well. And I'm not too sure if it's fully connected, but from what I understand is it could play a role into the way the prompt reads. And then down below here, so same as for this one here, we have the upload image. So I have my upload image here, and then I make sure that the resolution match the outcome of my video. I got a couple of surprise when I was going through the process. So I highly recommend to get the image at the right resolution, and then make sure you get here in the right size, because I had some weird crops sometimes. So here, image resize, that's why I have my image resize actually, but I don't really need that because the image here is the same as here. So I could actually plug it straight here. And then we have a length of 81 frames, and we have a 24 frame per second. So it's about 3 seconds video here. So this is, I just realized when I bump the length a bit too much, it sort of tend to bounce. So you go back and forth, which wasn't really good. So I found 81 frame works quite well. There are already some people working on extending those 3 seconds way longer than that. So it's coming soon, and it's quite amazing what the community is coming with. And then we have our case sampler. So in case you haven't noticed, we have now 2 case sampler, one for each model basically. And the first model works with like the high noise, and then we have that setting. So I wouldn't change the settings, similar to the one you had. The only difference is around the steps and the CFG, and then the sampler and scheduler. So let me run you through. Basically what happened here is, because we're using this LoRa, it fastened the iteration. So we can see here it's a 4-step LoRa. So what we can do here is we can actually go here and change it to 4 steps. Now the CFG, usually when we have those LoRa, it's a bit the same as for stable diffusion or flux. When it was more SDXL, when we use those sort of lightning models, we had to reduce a bit of the CFG. So here, keep the CFG as 1, but you can bump it. Apparently the CFG will also affect how much of the prompt will be taken into consideration. So I would definitely recommend to play a bit with that. But I'm not too sure how much it's going to affect. I had mixed results from touching too much of it. But as that one, it works all the time. Sampler name, LCM. So that's from actually the ComfyUI YouTube channel. The guy was just testing, and that was some of the recommendation instead of the default recommendation they have in their workflow. Instead of using an Euler and a simple, they actually recommend LCM and beta, which, to be honest, I haven't seen much difference, but I find it might be a bit more stable and consistent. Now, start step. So this one is the first case sampler. So we start at step 0, and because we have only 4 steps, we're gonna do half-half. So no matter how many steps, if you want to increase the number of steps here, that's fine. The more steps you have, the potential better quality it's gonna be. But keep in mind that if you increase those steps here, try to keep it as half-half. So half of the high-low noise and half on the low noise. So here I have 4 steps, so I have 0 to 2. And then here the second case sampler is 2 to 1000, but the realities could be 2 to 4 because I only have 4 steps. So this one is the same. I keep the 4 step, and then I keep the same settings and the scheduler. So one thing to keep in mind is like the latent will go here. So we're not adding noise. We're basically refining this what comes out of this case sampler. This case sampler will be very noisy, and we don't want to add more noise. We just want to denoise, only denoise the process. So that's why here we disable the add noise, and we don't have the noise here, and we have a fix here. And then after that, it goes through there. I have seen mixed results. A lot of people actually using less frame rates. I like to keep it at 24, and then you can just generate the video, and that's pretty much it for that workflow. So to download the LoRa, you go here. I will put the link below in the description, but it's basically one LoRa for the high and then one other LoRa for the low. So download this LoRa and save them into your LoRa folder, and you should be good to go, similar to this sort of process. Now I try a couple of workflow, and there's a new version of Sage Attention that I was really struggling to install on my machine, and it didn't work. And then I found the tutorial from Pixaroma. I'll put the link below in the description, and he and his community set up a new way to install ComfyUI from scratch with Sage Attention to speed up the generation. And for me, it almost speed up by 2 the time to generate on 1.2. So I highly recommend to check it out to speed up even more the generation. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. In terms of conclusion, I found just 1.2 with the LoRa from KJ quite amazing in ComfyUI to work with. I think there is a lot of potential. I'm still need to try the prompt and explore a bit more, but from what I tested, and I spent quite a lot of time on it, I found it very convincing. One thing that I hope it's gonna get to, and I think it's gonna happen in the next probably couple of weeks, is a version where you can have video to video. So again, same as 1.2.1 VACE, where you can have a path in Rhino or in Blender, and you can import it and generate a video out of this process. With the quality of 1.2.2, I think we can get to really interesting results. Now, talking about upscale, I actually had an upscale in this video, and then I just read a lot of things on Discord, and I found some amazing workflow that the community put out together, and I want to try those ones, and it might be worth for another video to explore how we can actually upscale that 1.2 video into a better res. And if you're interested about the files I'm showing on this video, or to look at the video in closer, or even look at all the workflow with the different prompts I use, I will share with my Patreon all the videos, and I'll also share with my Patreon custom ChatGPT that I created to help me with the prompting in 1.2, but also in flag context. So I'll share the link with my Patreon. Still work in progress, but it sort of helped me to refine it and to have a bit of a more target sort of response from ChatGPT. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, just subscribe, like the video, that helps a lot the channel. And if you are interested by this type of video, feel free to subscribe. There will be more about architecture and AI, but for now, that's it for today. See you later. Ciao.